Welcome back to another episode of NBA DFS Quick Hits. This is episode number 3 of the short NBA season. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope you guys made some cash over the weekend. I saw a lot of people in the SD Slack chat did make some cash over the weekend. So obviously if you're not in there, I would advise you to join. Spitting out knowledge in there all day, every day. So get in there, join up, chat with us about the NBA slates coming up. Tonight we have a 9-game slate that I'm going to. I'm not gonna lie to you. It really, it kind of fucking blows. This slate's pretty fucking dry. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, I believe this pod will probably go quite a bit faster. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really don't like a whole lot tonight. I think there's a couple games that you need a game stack. I think there's a couple teams that you need to stack up, and I think you just need to leave the rest alone. So let's just jump right on into it, guys. I'm not gonna toy around with it. Orlando at Boston. We have a 2-11 total with Boston being a 12-point favorite here at home. Not really much to like about here. Orlando did stick around with Philadelphia the other night, and I even mentioned that. I said, I watched Luke. I said, hey, Orlando is going to come in. Philadelphia is going to take it easy, thinking that Orlando is just going to lay down. And they didn't. They lost by a point. Orlando hung with them all the way to the end. So. It's obviously a lower total game. If you look at the totals on this board, there's not very many that's even under 220. In this game, I think you can look at Vucevic for Orlando at 7.7. He's just been, he's been the guy other than Aaron Gordon for Orlando so far this season. He's going to get the usage. Got to stick with Vuce at 7.7. I think you can look at like a couple cheap guys. I'm telling you, I don't like a whole lot. I think you can look at Terrence Ross. He's seen 26 or more minutes in his last 2 or 3 games. He's actually been scoring quite nicely at 3.8K. I find that to not be just a punt. I think that's a nice value play at that price. I think you can use him tonight. I think you can look at Jonathan Simmons at 4.4K. He's had 23 or more minutes in his last two. It looked like 23 and 33 in his last 2 games. He saw more minutes. He's kind of averaging out a little bit there at a decent number of minutes. I think he'll break out pretty soon. So Jonathan Simmons at 4.4, I don't hate it. For the Boston side, I think you got to look at Tatum again. Although his price has gone from 5,600 from game 1 to now it's 7.5 in their 3rd game. So it's up over 1.6K, which is not really ideal, but the guy's been smashing. So obviously look at Tatum. I don't hate Kyrie if you want to play Kyrie. I think Kyrie is a pretty decent play tonight. I think if you want to look at the cheaper side of things, you can look at Marcus Morris again at 4.6. He's, saw 27 or more in his last 2 of 3. Terry Rozier at 4.8. I think you can look at both of those guys just in case this game does get out of hand. I don't think Boston will probably take this game as lightly as Philadelphia did the other night. So I could actually see Boston getting a pretty good lead. So I think those 2 guys right there should see pretty good minutes in a case that it does get into a 10, 15-point lead. So Marcus Morris, Terry Rozier, I like those 2 as well. Let's move right along. We're going to go into Charlotte and Toronto, which is a game that I think you can stack up pretty good here. One of the game stacks. This is not my favorite one, but I like this game stack here. 224 on the total. Toronto at 9.5-point favorite. Obviously, you're going to look at Kawhi. He's 8.8. He's put up, 43.8 and 51 fantasy points in his last 2. Sat out the last game, so he'll be fresh. He's going to be ready to go. Definitely be stacking up your Kawhi. Serge Ibaka at 5.3. I've been talking about him a little bit in the chat. He's put up 28.8, 33.5, and 30.3 in his last 3 games. 5.3K. So, yeah, take that value play right there if you want. Danny Green, I think, is a nice cheap one at 4.3, 26.8 and 30.3 in his last 2 home games. Seems like he's been playing really well, playing over there in Toronto. So as long as the game is at home so far, it looks like his road game, he put up like 11 fantasy points. So, Danny Green at home looks pretty good at 4.3. On the Charlotte side of things, we've been riding Kemba. I would say stick to riding Kemba, 7.9. Guy's already had 2 games over 55 fantasy points, so don't sleep on Kemba. I know Lowry, he pretty much held Wall in check, like I had mentioned yesterday. I don't know. It's up to you, but Kemba at 7.9, he is on the road, but it seems that hasn't affected him much yet. The one that I really like is Jeremy Lamb at 5.3. He's put up 34.8. with a last game, 34.8. He put up a 12, 5, 4, and 3 steal line, 2 blocks. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. If you know DK scoring, those steals and blocks are going to really benefit you a lot. I don't know if he'll get as many this game, obviously, but if you look at current teams that have played Toronto, just the last game, Brad Beal put up 51 fantasy points against Toronto. So if you want to look at that, I'll take a chance on Lamb at 5.3. That's really all that I like for that game. I think you can stack up those guys right there. There's enough value in cheapies and Kawhi and Kimba to keep you busy right there. Let's move right along. The Knicks are going to go to Milwaukee, where they're probably going to get pound-towned. Milwaukee by 11 here, and a total of 227. Let's see here. I'm just going to go with the three-headed monster from Milwaukee, Middleton, Giannis, and Bledsoe. I think you can stack that mini stack right there and take it to Pound Town. I like it. For the Knicks, Cantor, 7.3. He's had a couple good games so far, 39.8, 48, and 43.3 fantasy points in his last 3 games. Obviously, he's going to still be the go-to. Also, I think you can play THJ tonight at 7.9. His price is steadily increasing. I'm not a big, huge fan, but the guy has really nice upside. Big total on the board, so THJ, I wouldn't sleep on THJ tonight. For some cheapies, I think you can look at Hazonja at 4.0, 4K, because obviously Kevin Knox is just went down. With that being said, I think you can also look at Noah Vonleh at 4.3. He's had 27.3 and 30.5 fantasy points in 2 of his last 3. So, Vonleh, I think he's a decent punt play to look at tonight. Hazonja looks like he could probably hopefully get some more minutes. But other than that, Cantor, THJ, and then for Milwaukee, you're just going to, you're not going to mess with any of those other scrubs that they have on their team, because it's ran through those 3 guys, Middleton, Giannis, and Bledsoe. So don't mess with anybody else. Let's move along to Indiana at Minnesota. This one's pretty interesting. I like this game. 225 on the total, Minnesota 2.5. I think KAT is a very, very good play tonight. He really hasn't busted out yet. I'm just waiting on one of those monster games, and I think you're going to see it tonight. I will be playing KAT. I will tell you that right now. He's 8.7, and I think that's a very fair price. If no Sabonis, for sure, I think that's going to be a great price, because we know Tibbs likes to run these guys till they're fucking dead. So I would imagine that they all play 35-plus minutes, So KAT, definitely. You get Narrative Street here with Jeff Teague playing against his old team at 6.2. I'll be playing some Teague tonight. I like Teague. If you want to go cheap, Derrick Rose, fellas, keep playing Derrick Rose. And Tibbs loves Derrick Rose, guys. He's 4.4. His prices went up $600, I think. 3.8 is what his last 2 was. 32 minutes in his last 2 or 3. Put up 47 fantasy points. We're getting old school Derrick Rose here, fellas. 47.3 fantasy points in his last game. Go for D Rose again. It's not even a punt play. It's pure value. For Indy, I think you can roll out Tyreek Evans at 6.1. His numbers have been. He's not. If he would get more minutes, he could really, really be a fantasy wrecking ball. But we saw that last season. But he's not getting the minutes that he needs, and his price is just a hair bit too much for the minutes that he is getting. Hopefully they see that he's doing this, because let's see here, 27.3, 28, and 30.3 in his last 3. Those are his fantasy points totals over his last 3 games, which he's barely hitting value, which really pisses me off. That's what I'm saying. You really need him to be getting 26 to 28 minutes to make him a really nice value play at his price. He needs to be more like 5.5K, I think, maybe more like 5.4, but they're not going to do that because they know his upside is really good. He has really nice upside. Evans, obviously have no Sabonis. I hope you guys got on Kyle Quinn yesterday. Like I mentioned, he played 19 minutes and put up 32 fantasy points. Hope you guys got on him. I'm sure a lot of the SD Slack chat guys did. So Kyle Quinn, obviously, again, if there's no Sabonis. I also like Bogdanovic at 4.6. I don't think Butler will get Bogdanovic. I think Vic's going to see a lot of Butler. And I'm not – that's why This has a high total, so somebody's going to have to score for Indy, and that's why I like Evans. I think Bogdanovic is going to be your other guy. I think he's going to put up a pretty decent line at 4.6, so do not sleep on Bogdanovic tonight. That's where I'm going with Indy and Mini. Let's move right along to my favorite stack of the day. It's not Phoenix and Golden State, I'll tell you that. It is Chicago at Dallas. We know Dallas just really doesn't play any defense. Not Dallas, Chicago. We know Chicago plays absolutely zero fucking defense. So with that said, I think DeAndre Jordan at 8.1 he put up 51 in his last home game. So go ahead, play some DeAndre Jordan. He was one of my favorites 2 nights ago, I think. And I think that might have been the night that he put up 51 points. So, anyway, Jordan, sure. Doncic, sure. I think a nice value play is Wes Matthews since he's continued to start. He's 5K, and he's played 34 and 35 minutes in his last 2, put up 28 and 27 fantasy points. Not ideally points, but, we all know Wes Matthews, once he gets shooting threes, if he starts popping them, he can hit it. He can hit them. So Wes Matthews, I think, is a nice play. JJ Barea is back in the fold here at 4.9. He's played. He put up 36 fantasy points in 22 minutes in his last game. Had a double with 12 points, 11 assists, and 2 takeaways. So JJ Barea at 4.9. Like it. Go for it. Chris Dunn is coming back tonight, 6.3K. I definitely will be on some Chris Dunn because I'll tell you again, DSJ is not the greatest defender. Dunn should be very refreshed and ready to play. I don't know what really – he said he was an illness. I thought it was personal reasons the game before, but I guess the last game supposedly he was out due to an illness. He should be fully recovered, ready to go. We'll be playing some Dunn at 6.3. I think he's one of the cheaper point guards on the slate today. Does that take away from Levine? Maybe. I'm not really sure, but at Levine at 7.1, I'm not exactly sure I'll be playing a lot of Levine at that price. He's put up 40-plus in his last 2, but he also had no Dunn. He had no true point guard. So, you can play Levine if you want. I don't hate it. Portis at 6.6. He's put up 32, 43.8 in his last 2. 32 fantasy points, 43.8 in his last 2. We know Portis is going to get the minutes. They're still hurting. No Markkanen, no Denzel Valentine. They're hurting at that 3 and 4 spot. So Portis, sure, yeah, I like it. So that's where I'm going. I like that game. Stack that game up. There was no line, so there was no total, no line on it. But I think that, and I don't really know why, because I don't really know who they're waiting to see is going to play or not. I guess fucking Dirk. Who gives a fuck about Dirk? Anyway, yeah, that's my favorite game stack of the night right there is Chicago and Dallas. Let's move on to a fucking snooze fest with Memphis and Utah. You can fucking watch Snell's race here with these two teams. But there's a total of 217. Don't be fooled by this, guys. This is just Vegas inflating the lines because every fucking game has been going over lately. These two teams do play defense, whether you want to say it or not. I know Utah has had a couple games where it's questionable, but Memphis doesn't play fast-paced. Utah does not play fast-paced. This game probably will struggle to hit 210. So if you like this game and you want to play it, I would say look at Ingles at 6.4. I would say look at Crowder at 4.7. And I'm not really even a big fan of Crowder. For Memphis, you can look at Conley at 6.6, even though the guy I don't know. I'd rather see some more from him so far. I'm not going to pay that price for him. I'd rather play Dunn. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been playing really well. Just put up 41.8 in his last game, and he's 5.2K. If you want to look at that value, I think that's fine. I might slide him in a lineup or two. Other than that, take a shit on that game and let it go. Washington and Portland. Portland -4, total of 226. Pretty high total. Yeah, just, guys, look at Wall and Dame. Wall at 8.9, Dame at 8.6, Bill at 7.0. I don't hate it. He put up 51.3 last game against Toronto, like I mentioned. I think he would probably get a little bit more better defense from McCollum. Who knows? But I also think you can look at Nurkic at 6.2 for Portland. I'm not really sure, though, because, with Howard not playing for Washington, that means they're going to go smaller. Markieff Morris is going to slide over to the 5 quite a bit. So, obviously I think that's going to allow some time for like guys like Kelly Oubre, Jeff Green even at 3.9, maybe even look at Rivers at 4.1. He's getting some decent minutes off the bench. That's how you can look at the Washington side. If you want to look at the Portland side, I think you can also look at Aminu. I really like Aminu tonight. I think he's in a good spot. I don't think he's had that ball out game yet, and he's good for it every once in a while. I think tonight you might see it at 4.6. 27 and 29 minutes in his last two. He's getting the minutes. He's starting at 4.6. He's starter minutes at 4.6K. I think you got to like that right there. So, Al-Farouq Aminu, I like it. Maybe even some Evan Turner at 4.3 if you're getting froggy and whatever. He. If any of you guys follow him on Twitter, it's fucking hilarious seeing him comment on all these chicks' Twitter posts and shit. He's a thirsty dude. Anyway, let's move right on. Phoenix and Golden State. Here's the boat race of the night. Obviously, Golden State should just fucking absolutely demolish these guys. Minus 13, 228 on the total. It is a high total. We know that. Golden State could easily put up 140 on this team. We know that. Do I think it has a lot of fantasy value? Maybe for a blowout. For Phoenix, Ayton is 6.8. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can pay that for him just yet. He hasn't really shown me much. I'm not buying into paying almost $7K for him at the moment. Obviously, Devin Booker, guys, yeah, sure. I mean, he's like 7.6K. He's still relatively cheap. He's going to get all the usage, but he's also probably going to get the toughest defender. I don't know who that may be, Clay or I know they're not going to stick Draymond on him. That's just silly. But I don't know. I don't really exactly love it. I think Ariza at 5.1 is really nice. I think Ariza is a very good look tonight. I think you can look there. TJ Warren at 4.5 has been getting the other half of the Ariza minutes, so I think you can look there. I really like that small forward spot against the Golden State. They tend to usually just let those guys go freely. KD just likes to roam, and we know he's definitely a hell of a defender, but he kind of slacks off a lot. So Ariza, Warren. I think one really nice punt play is Isaiah Canaan at 4.3. The guy's played 34 and 30 minutes in his last two games. Crawford played 7 minutes last game in his debut. I don't know if they tend to up that. I'm not really sure. But Canaan seems to be the guy right now. So I would play Isaiah Canaan at 4.3K. I wouldn't shy away from that one. For Golden State, Curry, KD, obviously, I don't have to fucking tell you guys that. You guys already know. But they're both over 10K, so I'd be very weary of playing them. I know Curry can probably put up fucking 50 FPs in the first half, so we already know that. KD, I don't know, man. I don't know if I play KD tonight. I just don't. I think I go elsewhere. If you want to go cheap and look for the blowout, you can look at Kevon Looney at 4.0. You can look at Jordan Bell at 3.6. And looks like Livingston may be out again, so even Quinn Cook at 3.2. I don't hate it. All those are definitely, guys that if you need to fit with some studs or something in the lineup, I think you can go there and hope for the blowout like it says it should be. So San Antonio and the Lakers. I love the Lakers stack here, guys. Obviously, it'll probably be pretty chalky. We already know that. Everybody's going to play the Lakers. This doesn't even have a LeBron, which I think LeBron is just going to be the centerpiece, obviously, and he'll probably garner the most ownership. But I think you can look at guys like Kuzma, Hart, Lonzo, all those guys are 5.5 or less. Kuzma 5.5, Josh Hart 5.1, Lonzo 5.5. We know Rondo's suspended. We know Brandon Ingram is suspended. So I think you can look at Lance Stevenson, obviously, at that small forward spot because he's probably going to play a little bit more at 3.8. Great value right there. He played 23 minutes in their last game. I think you need to look at KCP at 4.2. I think he's just dirt cheap for the minutes he gets. So KCP, definitely look there. DeMar, obviously, for San Antonio. Yeah, Pau Gasol returning to L.A. In a narrative street role if you're into that sort of thing. LMA has to bounce back. He just I don't know why he doesn't ever do anything when he goes to Portland. It pisses me off. It seems like I try to play that narrative every fucking time and he always shits on me. So, fuck LMA and you can play him tonight. I'm sure he'll have a monster game. If you want to look at cheap, go Bertans at 3.8. Don't hate it. So that's where I'm at for that game, and that's going to wrap up the 9 games that I have. So let me just quickly run through the faves and then the punts and the values. So my favorites, Vucevic, Tatum, Kemba Walker, Kawhi, Cantor, Tim Hardaway Jr., Giannis, he's priced at a gazillion. Middleton, I really like Middleton tonight. I really, really, really like Middleton tonight. Bledsoe, also really like. Tyreek Evans, Anthony Towns, I didn't even mention Butler, but yeah, I'm not, you can play Butler. Teague is in narrative row. I like Chris Dunn quite a bit. Levine, Portis, John Wall, Brad Beal, Dame, Nurkic, Curry, KD, and that's going to probably round that out. For the punts and the values, I think there are quite a few, actually. I think you can look at Terrence Ross at 3.8 again for that Orlando game. Marcus Morris and Rozier for Boston. I really like Jeremy Lamb for Charlotte at 5.3. Serge Ibaka at 5.3. Really like that. Danny Green, I think, is like I mentioned, he's been playing really well at home, 4.3. Noah Vonleh at 4.3. Hazonja at 4. Kyle O'Quinn at 3.6 if there is no Sabonis. Bogdanovic for Indy. I would get on him. He's very cheap. Derrick Rose, obviously. Wes Matthews is a nice value. J.J. Barea has a nice value. Jaren Jackson Jr. for Memphis. Al-Farouq Amino, who I will have plenty of, I say plenty, I'll have some of. Isaiah Canaan, who I will be punting. Trevor Ariza and Kevon Looney and Bell and Cook, obviously, are going to be your punts, obviously, as well. So, 21 minutes. This pod is almost done, guys. Welcome. Glad you guys joined me again for the third episode of the Quick Bricks NBA DFS podcast, brought to you by, as you always know, the guys over at the Sports to Gins. Glad that you guys made it. It's Monday. Hope you guys have a good Monday and get ready for a new week, man. Somebody fucking bink something.